In the silence before dawn, the sea is still. But beneath the calm surface, power is gathering. The next evolution of American air dominance is no longer a secret whispered in hangars. It's taking shape in steel, carbon fiber, and classified simulations. Its name is FAXX, and it might just redefine what the future of air warfare looks like. For more than a decade, the United States Navy has relied on the same twin workhorses of the skies, the Boeing F/A-18 Super Hornet and the Lockheed Martin F-35C Lightning II. Together, they've kept American carriers at the center of global power projection. But as the world changes, so does the battlefield. And now, the Navy faces a new reality, one that demands a completely different kind of aircraft. Once, the strategy was simple. Pack your carrier with fighters, sail within striking range, and unleash overwhelming air power. But the rules have changed. Across the Pacific, potential adversaries have rewritten the mathematics of war. Advanced radar systems, long-range missiles, and integrated air defenses have pushed the Navy's carriers farther and farther from their targets. The radio horizon, the invisible limit of detection and communication, has expanded. And in this new geometry of conflict, even the most advanced fifth-generation fighter can find itself outmatched. Footage of simulated missile arcs and radar sweeps across a digital map. So the Navy's question became urgent. How do you strike from farther away, stay hidden longer, and survive in the world's most dangerous airspace? The answer wasn't just a new aircraft. It was a new ecosystem. The FAXX isn't being built as a single weapon, but as the central brain of an aerial network, a web of manned and unmanned systems that move, communicate, and fight as one. Imagine a quarterback on the field, surrounded by teammates, each designed for a specific role. That's the FAXX. It won't fly alone. It will command squadrons of MQ-25 Stingray refueling drones, coordinate with stealthy collaborative combat aircraft, and draw data from an invisible constellation of sensors spread across land, sea, air, and orbit. Drone formations move in synchronization. A pilot's helmet display lights up with targeting data. The FAXX will not be defined by how fast it flies or how many bombs it carries, but by how it thinks. The aircraft's onboard systems will treat the pilot not as the controller, but as the decision-maker, a human brain guiding a digital fleet. The story of the FAXX began quietly, almost 15 years ago. Around 2008, the first whispers appeared inside Pentagon documents. A next-generation carrier-based strike fighter to follow the F/A-18. At first, it sounded like a simple replacement. But by the early 2020s, it had become something much more, a reimagining of what carrier air power means in the 21st century. The program's first non-negotiable demand was range. If the F-35C could fly about 670 miles in combat, the FAXX had to go farther, much farther. The Navy set the goal at an increase of roughly 25%, pushing it to over 830 nautical miles. Visuals of a digital map showing the extended radius of operation from a carrier. It's not just about having more fuel, it's about coordination. With in-flight refueling drones like the MQ-25 Stingray, range becomes a shared asset, a networked advantage. In the skies of tomorrow, some aircraft detect, others relay, and others strike. Together, they create a single lethal organism. But the path to innovation is rarely straight. In 2024, the Air Force's own sixth-generation program, NGAD, or Next Generation Air Dominance, was suddenly paused. That sent a wave of concern across the aviation world. Would the Navy's FAXX suffer the same fate? For months, the answer seemed uncertain. Rumors circulated that funds would be shifted from the FAXX to the Air Force's new fighter, now officially called the F-47. Lockheed Martin quietly stepped away from the Navy's competition, Critics began to whisper that the carrier-based sixth-generation dream might die before it ever left the ground. But Congress had other ideas. In 2026, the Senate Appropriations Committee included $1.4 billion specifically for the continued development of the Navy's new fighter. The message was clear. The program would go on. And that's when things got interesting. In the summer of 2025, the silence broke. Almost simultaneously, two of the biggest names in aviation, Northrop Grumman and Boeing, revealed their visions for the F/A-XX. For the first time, the world caught a glimpse of what the Navy's next-generation fighter might look like. Northrop Grumman went first, unveiling concept art that immediately turned heads. Its design was futuristic yet familiar. Sharp contours, blended wings, and a wide fuselage with smooth, flowing lines. A large teardrop-shaped canopy hinted at a single-seat layout, while deep belly contours promised ample room for fuel and weapons. But the real intrigue lay in the air intakes, mounted high on the aircraft's shoulders, curving into the fuselage like the gills of a predator. Some analysts saw echoes of Northrop's YF-23, the stealth fighter that once lost to Lockheed's F-22 Raptor in the early 1990s. Now, decades later, Northrop seemed ready for redemption. Meanwhile, Boeing entered the scene with its own reveal, a shadowy render unveiled at the Tailhook Symposium in August. Cloaked in clouds, its form was hard to see clearly, but what could be seen spoke volumes. A tailless, sleek silhouette, and a canopy strikingly similar to Boeing's F-47 Air Force fighter. This hinted at a bold strategy, a unified design philosophy between the Navy and Air Force's sixth-generation aircraft, streamlining production and maintenance. Boeing had already invested heavily in a new advanced combat aircraft assembly plant in St. Louis, designed to produce both fighters simultaneously if they won the contract. The message was subtle, but unmistakable. Boeing was playing for keeps. Both concepts reflected a deep truth about modern air combat. Stealth is no longer a luxury. It's survival. The F/A-XX's rounded surfaces, curved edges, and hidden engine inlets are designed to scatter radar waves, not reflect them. But stealth today goes far beyond radar evasion. It's about electronic invisibility, the ability to move, communicate, and strike in a sea of sensors without being detected. To do that, the F/A-XX will feature adaptive propulsion, engines that can change performance profiles in real time. It will likely integrate AI-assisted target management, data-fused sensors, and next-gen radar arrays that can both scan and jam at once. Super cruise capability, the ability to fly at supersonic speeds without afterburners, will allow the F/A-XX to cover massive distances while conserving fuel. Every line of its frame, every micro-layer of its radar-absorbing skin is being sculpted to survive in a world where detection equals destruction. For the U.S. Navy, the F/A-XX is more than just a new aircraft. It's the key to keeping the aircraft carrier relevant in the 21st century. Because make no mistake, the carrier, once the uncontested symbol of American power, is now more vulnerable than ever. China's long-range anti-ship missiles, hypersonic weapons, and advanced air defense grids have turned the Pacific Ocean into a chessboard of risk. Getting close enough to strike without being detected is no longer guaranteed. And that's where the F/A-XX must prove itself as the weapon that makes the carrier strike group untouchable again. It's not just a plane, it's a shield for an entire fleet. As of now, the F/A-XX remains on the edge of mystery. We don't know its exact specifications. We don't know when its prototype will roll off the runway. But we do know this: both Boeing and Northrop Grumman have poured their futures into making it real. The Navy envisions an air wing that, by the 2040s, will be 60% unmanned. The F/A-XX will lead that transformation, guiding drone squadrons and autonomous aircraft into battle. This is more than a generational leap. It's a philosophical one. For over a century, pilots have been the warriors of the sky, men and women who carried the weight of combat in the palms of their hands. The FAXX changes that equation. Now, the pilot becomes the conductor, commanding a symphony of machines. The human brain, linked with artificial intelligence, will make split-second decisions that no single person or algorithm could make alone. That's the essence of sixth-generation warfare. Man and machine not competing, but completing each other. From the Wright brothers to stealth bombers, aviation has always been a race between innovation and obsolescence. Every generation builds on the one before it, and every new design carries the ghosts of the old. The FAXX carries that legacy too. It borrows the adaptability of the FA-18, the stealth DNA of the F-35, and the futuristic ambition of the NGAD program. But it also breaks away from them, embracing a future where connectivity and autonomy are the ultimate weapons. There's still much we don't know. Will the FAXX use thrust vectoring, twin engines, or even laser weapons? Whatever form it takes, its success will shape the Navy's future for decades. Right now, in hidden hangars in St. Louis and Palmdale, engineers are forging that future. Crafting wings not just for speed, but for intelligence. And when the first FAXX finally lifts off a carrier deck into the rising sun, it won't just mark a new aircraft. It will mark the dawn of a new era where man, machine, and data move as one. Because this isn't just about a fighter jet. It's about a belief that no matter how far the horizon moves, the sky will always belong to those bold enough to chase it.